NoDQ Galaxy. Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for May the 16th, 2022. An interesting show this week, not just what we saw on camera, but also what apparently happened off camera became a very significant story during Raw. We will get to that in just a few moments. Thank you to everybody for watching, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership and support. Please spread the word. Share a link to this live stream on Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you can. It would be much appreciated. Now, we kicked off Raw with a video package hyping up Bobby Lashley versus Omos in a steel cage match. And this was the match to kick off the show. Oofman says new glasses. I've had the glasses for a few weeks now, Oofman, so you need to be watching more NoDQ live streams, my friend. We had MVP and Omos in the ring. MVP cut a promo and talked about how it was going to be a spectacle of destruction. He ripped into Lashley, called Omos the future of WWE, said the almighty era will end in the cage. Lashley made his entrance, but he was jumped from behind by Cedric Alexander, Cedric the Entertainer. After the commercial break, we finally restored order, and the cage match was underway. Omos was dominating the early moments. Crowd was chanting, "Let's go, Bobby." MVP was using his cane, taking shots at Lashley through the cage. And because it was a cage match, anything goes here. He could get away with it. Lashley was slapped by MVP, but then Lashley grabbed MVP's arm and knocked MVP off the steel steps. But then Omos was able to take advantage. Lashley came back, hit a spear. Omos kicked out of that. And then Lashley went for the hurt lock. Omos backed into the corner to break the hold. Lashley then tried to climb up the cage, but then you had Cedric Alexander climbing up the cage to stop Lashley. Lashley ended up throwing off Cedric into the ring to the mat, tossed all the way from the top. And then Lashley jumped off the top towards Omos, but got caught. Omos threw him into the cage, hit him with a big boot, and then Omos picked up Lashley, threw him into the cage again, but this time the cage broke. Think of St. Valentine's Day Massacre 1999 when Paul White, the Big Show, picked up Steve Austin, threw him into the cage, and the cage broke. Austin fell to the floor and technically won the match because his feet hit the floor. And that's exactly what happened here. Lashley was thrown into the cage. It broke, and Lashley got to his feet. He was officially declared the winner of the cage match. I thought this was a fine finish. Match was okay for what it was. You really cannot expect too much from these guys, but it was all right. It was decent. And the finish, they haven't done it in a long time, so I was cool with it. And I really have nothing else to say about it, although apparently next week this storyline is going to continue. The cage match is not the end of the storyline, apparently. DJ Whitey sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, DJ. Says, "What's up, Aaron and NoDQ Galaxy? I've seen the news on NoDQ.com, but missed Raw. Was it worth watching it back on my DVR? Sorry to go off topic, buddy." Not a problem, DJ, and anybody in the chat room, feel free to leave a comment with your thoughts if you think he should check out Raw on DVR. Interesting note, WWE had a countdown to Cody. They were hyping up Cody Rhodes appearing like last week, Cody Rhodes having a segment at the 10 o'clock hour. WWE was hyping up this countdown to Cody during the first 2 hours of Raw, and he would come out there to set up the third hour, start the third hour, whatever. We then had Theory versus Ali, or what was supposed to be Theory versus Ali, and Theory was billed as the youngest U.S. champion in WWE history. He got on the mic and he said that he will not do the match unless he has a referee he can trust. Take a wild guess who the referee was. It was, of course, The Miz. And Theory said he arranged a match to see if Ali is championship material. The opponent for the match was not going to be Theory, but rather it was going to be Veer Mahan, the undefeated Veer. Veer was sent. Veer was ready to come, and that he did. Ali, however, stayed in the fight, but The Miz, once again, being a factor as the heel referee, Theory grabbed the foot of Ali right in front of The Miz, and The Miz did absolutely nothing. And then you had Ali get a little bit of momentum. He knocked Veer to the outside, was going to go for a dive, but Miz got in his way. Miz stopped Ali from doing the dive. Veer got back in, got the upper hand, put in the cervical clutch submission, and Ali tapped out. Your winner, once again, is Veer Mahan. And then after the match, a little funny moment here. Austin Theory wanted to get a selfie with Ali in the clutch. And then on top of that, Theory had Miz pose for the photo as well. And then all of a sudden, as Veer was going to, I guess, put Ali through the announce table, the Mysterios showed up. Rey and Dominik Mysterio are back after getting some stem cell treatments. The father and son duo have returned, and they took down Veer Mahan, the first time Veer has gone down since coming to Monday Night Raw, after actually already being part of Raw before the draft, but we're supposed to forget about that. Storyline is whatever, the whole heel referee deal, but I did get a kick out of the selfie, and then the Mysterios coming back, set up a 6-man tag team match or whatever. Now, here's where things get interesting. And Psycho Jet Black, real quick, sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you. Says, I thought Ali and Ciampa were feuding. I think they are. I honestly feel like WWE doesn't know what to do with Ciampa. He's just kind of there right now. Now, we had what was supposed to be a 6-woman match, a 6-pack challenge in the main event spot on Raw to determine the challenger for the Raw Women's Championship, champion being Bianca Belair, of course, at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, or premium live event, as it's now known. This was hyped up by WWE. Shortly before Raw went on the air, WWE tweeted it. There was a graphic for it, 6-pack challenge. But then all of a sudden we have Becky Lynch backstage with Adam Pearce. And Becky said that Sasha Banks and Naomi have left the building. They just walked out. And Becky said that since they are gone, the match should be off. Becky should be the number one contender. However, Pierce said no, and Pierce decided to make a match one-on-one, Becky Lynch versus Asuka. So what the hell happened here? Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says Naomi is married to an Uso. She's not getting fired. We'll see. Really interesting development here tonight. DJW sent in a $5 super chat regarding whether or not he should watch Raw. He said the chat room has it tied, so he will watch back because of the news on NoDQ. He said he'll see everyone this Wednesday for Dynamite. Thank you for that, DJ. I appreciate it. Now, news came out shortly after this segment that Sasha Banks and Naomi apparently walked out for real. The report is that Naomi was booked to win the six-pack challenge. And apparently Sasha Banks had an issue with Vince McMahon over the creative direction of this six-man match. So what does this all mean? This is obviously a continuing, ongoing, breaking story, and I'm sure more details will come out about this, but a lot of people comparing this to Steve Austin walking out. Whether you agree or disagree with a creative direction, ultimately you're being paid to do a job, you're being paid to perform, and people buy tickets expecting to see you. So yeah, it is not really a professional move. Some people might feel, you know what, if Sasha Banks felt strong about it, wanted to take a stand, good for her. But then you have other people feeling, well, this is just flat out unprofessional. Corey Graves on commentary said that they unprofessionally left the arena. That was the exact quote from Corey Graves. Now, WWE issued a statement saying that they left the tag team titles in the office of John Laurinaitis, the head of talent relations, and apparently had some kind of issue with the participants in the match, which other than Becky and Asuka, you had Doudrop and Nikki ASH. Really bizarre story. Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for any further updates regarding the matter. Yeah, this is not the first time that Sasha Banks has reportedly had an issue with a creative direction. And remember back in 2019? She took a 6-month break from WWE. She went home and was gone for a while. What does this mean for the future? Some people think it's a work. Of course, you're going to have the people thinking that this is all part of a storyline. But here's the thing. Number one, WWE doesn't typically do these kind of storylines, which is why I'm not thinking it's a work. And number two, it just really doesn't make any sense. The whole thing is very bizarre. Like, if there's a legit creative direction, that makes more sense than what the WWE statement is. So we'll have to see. Apparently, there's more to this, more information that is going to be coming out about it. Oofman Entertainment with a $5 super chat says, creative issue, meaning outcome of what would have happened in the match, ending, a heel turn, the plot thickens. Yeah, and I'm just trying to wonder about Naomi and what that whole deal is, because if she was booked to win the match, why walk out? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. Was WWE perhaps starting to plant the seeds for a Naomi and Sasha breakup, even though they're the tag team champions? There's been all this talk about Naomi possibly joining the Bloodline and Jey Uso recently did an interview and said it was going to happen soon. He flat out said it was very likely that Naomi would end up in the bloodline. Was WWE going to start moving in that direction? And maybe Sasha was like, you know what? We're just now trying to build up the tag team division, and this is not the time for a breakup. I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll see what further information comes out. Maybe cooler heads will prevail. Maybe Sasha and Naomi will be back on TV on Friday or next Monday. But again, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for all the very latest. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, I still don't care about the women's tag team titles. Yeah, a lot of work needs to be done. That's for damn sure. And Caleb Jacob said this is the 20-year anniversary of Austin walking out. That is true. Almost 20 years to the day. I believe it was June when Austin walked out. So we are very close to the actual 20-year anniversary. So we're going to move on from that for now. Again, you can read the statement from WWE over at NoDQ.com. We had Riddle up against Jimmy Uso in what I like to call a momentum match, where WWE just has a match for the sake of somebody making an attempt to build up momentum before their big match. And in this case, we have the tag team title unification match coming up this Friday on SmackDown. And we're supposedly going to get new tag team champions unified. I'll believe that when I see it. Now, Jey Uso was out there with Jimmy, but no Randy Orton. And WWE on commentary said that Orton had a family commitment. Orton was part of the Fox Upfronts earlier today, which is this big gathering with advertisers and media. And it's all about setting up advertising for the next television season, and WWE representatives were there making their pitches as to why advertisers should be on SmackDown. So apparently that's what Randy Orton was doing, and he was unavailable for Raw this week, but it appears the match is still on for Friday. It was advertised, and we had this match here which was pretty solid between these two. I mean, it's pretty much a given that these guys will always have a good match. Back and forth here. Riddle tried a super RKO but got knocked off the top. Jimmy went for a big frog splash, but Riddle got his knees up. And then Riddle went up to the top. Jey Uso pushed him off when the referee wasn't looking. And then Jey tried to assist Jimmy with a pinfall, you know, that heel tactic that the Usos used last year in particular. But the referee did catch them in the act. And Jey was kicked out. And Riddle took advantage. Small package roll up. Got the victory to build up the momentum heading into the tag team title unification match this coming Friday on SmackDown. And then later on in the show, Riddle cut a promo, RK Bro 420 going to smoke their ass, and the Usos cut their little promo saying it's going to be on their turf on SmackDown. And happy early birthday to Calvin Bowman. He will be turning 37. Shout out to him. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, will Riddle wear boots when he turns heel? Good question. He might. I mean, Rusev eventually wore boots. I'm surprised Riddle hasn't been forced to wear boots yet, but I guess as long as he doesn't get hurt, then they'll be like, okay, fine, wear whatever. Go out there barefoot if you want. We had Judgment Day cutting a backstage promo, and Priest said that they do whatever they want to whoever they want, and those in their way will receive punishment. Again, that's his old name, Punishment Martinez from Ring of Honor. And then Rhea Ripley talked about embracing the moment, and she's enjoyed every moment of being part of the group. Edge talked about how the people need to stop being sheep and join the movement, and then said AJ Styles still has a chance to join the group. AJ Styles was just like Edge, trying to please the people, but Edge said that he was just left with broken bones and had to retire. His career was ended. It's not too late for AJ Styles to join the movement. And Edge said that they can stand by their side or lay at their feet. And also backstage, Los Lotharios were trying to get Liv Morgan to be part of the Kiss Cam. She turned it down. Styles and Balor showed up to chase them off, and Balor said the three of them need to work together to fight Judgment Day, and asked if she would be at ringside for their match, and she said she would think about it. We had Styles and Balor up against Los Lotharios, and Liv Morgan did in fact come down to ringside for moral support. Good guys got a hot start. They did some stereo dives, but then Los Lotharios got the upper hand during the break. Balor avoided the wing clipper, but got hit with a super kick. And then Humberto went for a moonsault, but Balor was able to get his feet up. And AJ came in with a phenomenal forearm to Angel Garza. And then Finn Balor hit the coup de grace to Humberto and scored the 1-2-3 victory. The trio celebrated after the match, and Liv Morgan joined in on a 2-sweet. Looks like we may be getting a 6-person mixed tag team match in the future, maybe at Hell in a Cell. Backstage, we had the Alpha Academy getting, they were giving the DNA results to Kevin Owens as to whether or not Elias and Ezekiel are the same person. And Chad Gable talked about how they got a piece of hair from Elias's guitar. They matched it to the solo cup. However, the results got contaminated by barbecue sauce. The sample had barbecue sauce. And I was thinking, Jim Ross? But no, apparently it was Otis, because Kevin Owens pointed out that Otis was eating barbecue food the other week in catering. Owens was very upset. And by the way, Owens was wearing a Sami Zayn t-shirt, paying tribute to his close buddy. And Gable told Owens to shoosh and vowed to beat up Ezekiel. I almost said Ezekiel Jackson. Kevin Owens was great here as usual, by the way. Next up, we had Alexa Bliss versus Sonya Deville in a rematch from next week. Of course, Sonya Deville this time having some preparation for this match. Alexa Bliss has new music again. And this one was different. This is a totally different song. It actually has lyrics. I thought it was decent. I'm not sure the theme song creator, if it is Def Rebel or a band that performed the song for Alexa. Alexa's married to a rock band singer, so maybe it's somebody that Alexa knows that performed the song. But it was decent. It's more upbeat, so she's definitely a babyface character now. And I thought it was okay. Although Dr. NXT Scorpio says it sounds like Disney. Well, maybe that's what Alexa was going for with the song. And Michael Wayne thinks it sounds like Avril Lavigne. Yeah, I could kind of see that. Anyways, pretty standard match here. Sonya Deville was showing more intensity this time. Hit a running knee, got a near fall early on in the match. Smashed Alexa's head into the mat repeatedly. Started doing some trash talking. and she worked over Alexa for a while, exposed the turnbuckle. She was really going in for the kill, but unfortunately, this was the downfall for Sonya Deville in this match, because the referee saw what was going on and tried to cover back up the turnbuckle. And while this was going on, Sonya hit a spine buster and had Alexa in a pinning predicament. But because the referee was busy, nothing was finished here, and Alexa was able to recover, hit the DDT, and picked up the victory. And pretty much one move from Alexa won her the match too. Afterwards, Sonya Deville yelled at the referee and then slapped him before storming off in complete disgust. And of course, the announcer's talking about how Sonya, she cannot be doing this to officials and so on and so forth. Next up, we finally had the end of the countdown to Cody. Cody Rhodes showed up for a promo to address getting curb stomped by Seth Rollins on last week's show. Cody Rhodes talked about how the biggest threat to Seth Rollins seems to be Rollins. Cody brought up the history of Seth Rollins, how Rollins quickly climbed the ladder in WWE, shattered the glass ceiling. Cody said his story was different. He had to scratch and claw his way to the top. He painted his face with a smile while he was looking up at the lights most of the time. But he endured. He said he is never going to be the American dream, so why not embrace the nightmare? He said Rollins will have to kill him in order to take away his second chance. And he's going to give Rollins the chance to kill him, because Cody Rhodes was officially challenging Seth Rollins to a Hell in a Cell match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. What a coincidence. Seth Rollins appeared on the big screen, was laughing, said Cody must be stupider than he looks, and said he is going to exploit every one of Cody's insecurities and expose Cody for the fraud that he is, and said that he accepts the challenge. Cody responded by saying he'll see Seth Rollins in hell. Great promo here. Hell of a promo from Cody Rhodes, dare I say. Really solid stuff here. He got the crowd to chant his name. I'm looking forward to it. Hell in a Cell, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins. I just wish there wasn't a pay-per-view called Hell in a Cell coming up. Like, it would have been a natural third match in the series. And I would have liked to have seen, as I've mentioned already on previous streams, I would have liked to have seen Rollins win the second match. But Cody's getting that main event push, guys. Definitely feels like he's going to be the guy to face Roman Reigns at one of the stadium shows coming up, whether it's Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. And could see Seth Rollins lose 3 in a row, but we'll see. Carlos Gomez with a $3.03 super chat. Thank you, Carlos. Says, looks like WWE might punish Naomi and Sasha now. Well, as mentioned earlier, Naomi, she's married to Jimmy Uso. What are they going to do? With Sasha, she's a pretty big star. If anything, they may have her sit at home for a while, but yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said earlier, it's not the first time that Sasha took a hiatus from WWE and went home. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, I feel like another screwy finish at Hell in a Cell. I hope not. I hope they just have a really strong match. And I guess Rollins loses again. Like, it's weird because where does Rollins go from here after losing 3 in a row to Cody? And if Cody loses, it's just bizarre because this is the end of the feud. Rollins wins the third match and Cody won the first 2, so it's still 2-1. Yeah, it's strange the way they set this up, but it is what it is. And apparently Sasha Banks unfollowed a bunch of WWE personalities on Twitter. Interesting. Is it legit? Is she working people? Time will tell. We had Kevin Owens on commentary for Ezekiel versus Chad Gable, and the photo of Elias and Ezekiel was shown on the screen. It's from Ezekiel's Instagram page. Ezekiel was doing well early on, but Otis took a cheap shot when the referee was dealing with Gable. And the Gable went for a moonsault, but Ezekiel moved. Ezekiel started to make a comeback. And Gable tried to come off the top, but he got hit with a jumping knee. And then Gable eventually hit his moonsault, but Ezekiel kicked out of it. Otis got on the apron, and Gable went for a pin, but Ezekiel reversed the momentum, and he was able to pin Chad Gable. Of course, Kevin Owens, very unhappy about this as Ezekiel took his leave. Fun match. No real issue with it. I like the storyline, of course. I'm still waiting for Damian Sandow to come in as Elias. Or what about LA Knight being Elias? Like, they should really bring in somebody who's obviously not Elias, but have him be Elias. And Kevin Owens is like, that's not Elias, that's Damian Sandow or LA Knight or whatever. Like, I think they totally got to do that. Bring in a new Elias and just pretend he's the original Elias. That would be very entertaining. And I do agree, Darren. I'm not sure how long this Ezekiel character can go, but hey, there are things they can do. I just presented an idea right now that they could do to keep this going for a while. Next up, we had a backstage 24/7 segment. R-Truth found Tozawa hiding in a trash can and officially served him with the divorce papers. And Dana Brooke thanked R-Truth, but R-Truth said that he wants his 24/7 title back. She shoved him off, ran away, bumped into Carmella. Carmella called Dana Brooke a sorry excuse for a wife. And Dana Brooke responded by saying the last time Carmella was relevant was when she was hanging out with a chinless guy, the chinless guy, who of course was James Ellsworth. So yes, we got a reference to James Ellsworth on this 2022 episode of Monday Night Raw. And then R-Truth chased away Dana Brooke. Carmella said she'll help out R-Truth by taking care of Dana Brooke. So I guess Carmella is now part of the 24/7 storyline. But hey, her husband is Corey Graves, so she's doing all right. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, Mark Sterling versus R-Truth in a courtroom battle. Oh, I'm pretty sure R-Truth would win that one. No questions asked. We had Lacey Evans introduced to the live crowd, and Lacey came into the ring, cut a babyface promo. I mean, this week at least she's, I guess, still a babyface. She praised the armed forces, asked for a round of applause, gave a motivational speech, said that she's no better than the women backstage, but also they are no better than her. And just the usual from Lacey Evans, but no sign of a heel turn this week. I guess if that's the direction they're going, it's going to be a slow burn type of deal. And just maybe they're just feeling out right now and seeing how the crowd gravitates towards this. And that's the direction they're going to go. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what the hell they're doing here with her. And Ryan, I agree with you. I mean, the promos were definitely babyface promos, but that line the other week when the announcer said, Lacey has asked that you all show her respect. Like, that's a very heelish thing to do. We had our main event of the evening, which was Asuka versus Becky Lynch, not the original women's main event, but this is what they had to come up with on short notice. Bianca Belair was at ringside, which you know what this means if you've watched, hell, a month of WWE television. You know what happens when somebody's sitting out there at ringside. But I will give WWE credit. Last minute here, and in particular, credit to Asuka and Becky. They had a pretty solid match here with very short notice. Asuka had a hot start, but then Becky gave her the Beck-sploder on the barricade. And then Asuka caught her with a kick, started to make a little bit of a comeback. They traded some blows. Asuka put the Asuka lock on, but Becky got to the ropes. And then Asuka put on an armbar. Becky once again got her foot on the rope. Becky went to the outside of the ring to regroup, and she started taunting Bianca Belair. Here comes WWE Booking 101. Asuka went outside, and then Becky grabbed Asuka and tossed her into Bianca Belair. You know, we see this all the time. This angle is done very frequently. And Bianca got on the apron. Referee was distracted with Bianca, and Becky went for Asuka's umbrella. She was going to use the umbrella on Asuka, but Asuka outsmarted Becky. Asuka had the mist. She spit the mist in the eyes of Becky Lynch, hit her kick, the Asuka kick, and then scored the 1-2-3 victory. I liked this. I liked the return of the green mist. I was very happy to see the green mist. And more importantly, I liked the fact that the babyface got the better of the heel. Becky thought she was going to outsmart Asuka, use the umbrella, but Asuka was one step ahead with the mist. That is how you book a babyface. All things considered, they had to change this up last minute. I thought this was very well done. So thumbs up for the end of Raw. And Asuka is now going to challenge Bianca Belair. I don't think she's going to win the title, but I like the setup for this. Good stuff here to end the show. And that was Raw, everybody. And it's going to take place at Hell in a Cell, by the way, the women's title match. So title will be defended this time on the premium live event. All in all, Raw was solid. Good show. The flow was nice. And yeah, you had the backstage controversy, but I would say that I was impressed with what they came up with at the last minute. And very good promo by Cody Rhodes. You had some good matches on this show. So far, looking forward to Hell in a Cell. I like what they have cooked up for it up to this point. Solid B. And I think to answer DJW from earlier, yeah, I'd say go ahead and watch it. I would say it's a recommend this week. Solid Raw, good stuff, pretty much consistently throughout the show. I mean, there was really nothing that I thought was particularly bad. I mean, the whole Miz guest referee thing is kind of lame, but they did have the Mysterio's return, so that was noteworthy. And that's it, everybody. Any more additional news items regarding the whole Sasha Banks and Naomi situation, that will be up on NoDQ.com. Again, you can check out the statement from WWE over on the site. And thank you guys again for watching and supporting. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys give this video a like, spread the word, tell a friend, subscribe if you haven't already, and enjoy your week, everybody. I will see you guys next time. And don't forget, say yes to NoDQ.com. See you next time.